around you now.
What's up guys, Magic Matrix back again with another video, and today I've got a really cool card trick to show you. I'll start off by giving the deck a quick mix-up before we go any further, but I know what you're thinking. Why trust me to shuffle the cards? I could be doing whatever I want when the cards are completely in my hands, and so here's what I'll do. There are 52 cards in the deck, which means if we split that in half, that's 26. So I'll give you 26 cards to shuffle, and I'll keep 26 cards to shuffle for myself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26. So now the cards have been split perfectly in half, 26 and 26. Which pile do you want to mix up? You want this one here? Perfect. Oh, you changed your mind, you want this one? That's fine. You shuffle those, I'll shuffle these. So I'd be shuffling up my cards just like this. You'd be mixing up yours just like this. And at one point I could even go through my cards and show you that my cards really are mixed up. There's no specific order to my cards. And you could even go through yours, see that everything is mixed up just like this. And if you're really still skeptical, go ahead, give it another shuffle until you are satisfied with the order. But at one point you'd be done. Let's say at this point you were satisfied. You'd hand me back the cards, we combine the two piles together, and now we have a full deck of 52 cards again, shuffled by both me and you. To continue the trick, I'd ask you to select 3 cards for me. So I just fan out the deck like this and have you select 3 cards at random. Let's say you want this card here, and this card here. 3 completely random cards chosen by you. In this case, we have the 9 of spades, the 9 of diamonds, and the 7 of hearts. Now this is how the next part of the trick would work. I'd hand the cards over to you. They'd be completely in your hands from this point on in the trick. And I want you to tell me, how many cards would I need to add to this pile here to make the numbers add up to 10? You would tell me 3, because this is a 7. So you deal down 3 cards face down into this pile here. 8, 9, 10, just like that. Now in this pile, how many cards do I need to add to it to make this equal 10? You would tell me 1, 10, just like that. And how about this pile? You would tell me 1 again, 10. This would be completely in your hands. You'd be the one dealing these cards down. Now obviously, each of these face-up cards also has their own number, a 7, a 9, and a 9. I want you to add those numbers together. 7 plus 9 is 16, and 16 plus 9 is 25. A completely random number generated by these 3 numbers here on the cards. Obviously, if we had different cards, a different number, and also a different number of cards dealt down. But we got the number 25 with these decisions that you made. The cards have been in your hands since they were selected. I want you to deal down to the 25th card, and I can tell you that the card in the 25th position is the 6 of clubs. So you'd have the cards in your hand, and you deal down to the 25th card. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. In the 25th position is the 6 of clubs. That is the trick, guys, and if you want to learn it, be sure to stick around for the tutorial. Alright guys, let's get into the tutorial for the trick that you just watched. This is a really awesome trick that I like to call Add 'em Up, and it's a version of A.C.A.A.N that is partly hands-on and partly hands-off for the magician. That's why I like this version so much, because once the cards are selected, everything can be done in the spectator's hands. You don't need to touch the cards for the rest of the trick. So let's get into how to perform it. To start off, you'll just take the deck and begin like it's just a normal trick. You just want to give the cards a shuffle before you go any further. But then you're going to pause and tell the spectator that you don't want them to think that you are manipulating the cards or setting up for the trick. So what you'll do is you'll tell them that you're going to split the deck into 2 equal piles of 26 cards each, because there are 52 cards in a deck. So you'd begin 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, and 26. Now, once the piles were separated, you would allow them to pick whatever pile they wanted to shuffle. Now, they really can pick any pile that they want. They could change their mind midway through shuffling. They can do whatever they want. Just allow them to pick which one. So let's say they want this one here. They've made up their mind, they want that one. So you'll have these cards, you'll just be shuffling them like normal. They'll have their cards, mixing them up just like this. At this point, you're not doing anything funny, this is just normal shuffling. And at one point, when there's a pause in the shuffling, you're going to tell them that you're going to show them your pile so that they can see the cards really are mixed up. And this is when you're going to be locating a card. You need to look at and remember the card in the 7th position from the top. So when I turn my cards over and say, I can show you my cards and you can see they're all mixed up, you're going to locate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In this case, for me, the Ace of Hearts is in the 7th position. I need to remember that card. I need to commit it to my memory. I cannot forget this card. And then I just keep going through the rest of the cards, showing them that they are shuffled. So you don't want to do this too slowly. You need to be able to locate this card fairly quickly so that they don't notice that you're stopping to look at a card. So I'm just fanning through. You can see all my cards are different. I see the Ace of Hearts. I just keep going past it and show all the cards. Then I can flip my deck back face down, place it on the table, leave it in my hand. I just can't shuffle the cards anymore because if I do, it will disturb the Ace of Hearts in the 7th position. And then you can tell them that they can go through their cards and see. This part is just for consistency, that they can see their cards too, and they can keep shuffling if they want. So let's say they keep shuffling just a little bit more, just like this. Now, once the shuffling is finished, you need to make sure that when they hand you back the cards, you place their pile on top of your pile. So don't place your pile on top of theirs. Their pile needs to go on top of yours. That's very important. So they hand you back the cards, their pile goes on top of yours, and now you continue the trick. You'll pick up the deck and explain to the spectator that you want them to pick 3 cards at random for the next part of the trick. Now, you don't want to fan out the entire deck like this and let them pick out any card. And the reason for that is because even though the chances are slim, they could potentially pick the card that you remembered, the Ace of Hearts in my case, that was in the 7th position. So to prevent them from doing that, what you want to do is make sure that they pick a card from their half of the deck. Now, it was split perfectly in half, so if you spread out half the deck, that would be good. I usually like to spread out just a little bit less, just to make sure that I really am not getting into my half of the deck. So I'll usually spread out about this much, a little less than half, and allow them to pick a card from these cards. Now, because there's a block of cards here in this hand, you can see they're probably not going to try to reach into this block. So if you just like cover it with your fingers a little bit and just extend these cards, chances are they are most likely going to pick a card from these cards that are fanned out. So let's say they go in and they choose this card, and this card. So completely free choices from those cards there. You'll square the deck back up and you'll show them the cards that they got. In this case here we have the 4 of diamonds, the 2 of diamonds, and the Queen of diamonds. Now you'll hand the deck over to the spectator, and as long as they follow the instructions from this point on, the trick will work every time. This A.C.A.N, obviously, as many do, has a lot to do with mathematics. So you'll hand the deck over to them, and you'll explain this next part of the trick. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to explain to you how this numbering system works. The way the mathematics work in this trick is that each pile needs to add up to 10. So aces are worth 1, and then 2s are worth 2, 3s are worth 3, all the way up to 10. All those numbers equal their actual value. Now, once you get to the face cards, the jacks, the queens, and the kings, they are also worth 10. So you can see here, I have a queen. So I would make this pile equal 10, as if the value was actually 10. So this is how you do it for the spectator. So you're starting with this pile here, say the Queen of Diamonds. You explain to them, this is a queen, it already equals 10, so you don't need to add any cards to this pile. Moving on to the middle pile here, they see it's a 2. You ask them, how many cards do I need to add to this pile to make it equal 10? They would tell you 8 because there's already a 2 here, which takes off 2 of the numbers from 10. So you tell them to take the deck in their hand and deal down 8 cards face down into this pile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, just like that. You move on to the third pile now and ask them how many cards they need to add to this pile. They would tell you 6 because this is a 4, taking off 4 from 10. So face down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now at this point, the cards are still in their hand. You explain to them this was all done randomly. They got to pick their cards. Obviously, if they had gotten different cards, different amounts of cards would have been dealt down. But you want them to do one more thing. You're going to tell them that each of the face-up cards has their own number, and you want them to add those 3 numbers together to generate another random number. So 10 plus 2 is obviously 12, and 12 plus 4 is 16. So you tell them that the number 16 was randomly generated. If we had different face-up cards, we'd have gotten a different number because we'd have different values. But we got the number 16. Now remember the card that I was thinking of that was in the 7th position. I don't know how this works, guys, but if you follow these steps, it will work every time that the card you were remembering that was in the 7th position before will always be in the position that you get from adding these numbers. So I would tell my spectator that I can tell them, without looking at the cards that are in their hand right now, that the card in the 16th position is the Ace of Hearts. So they take the cards, they deal down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And in the 16th position is the Ace of Hearts. And this works every time, no matter what number you get. So that's the trick. It's a really fun one. It's one of my favorites. Probably one of my favorite versions of A.C.A.A.N. But I hope you enjoyed it. Have fun learning it. And I'll see you next time.